All right, we're back. We've got Becky Bell with us for a few hours. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. You're looking bright and cheery. I guess with the sunlight streaming in on you, that happens naturally. But as usual, and your hair is color coordinated for us, and we
As
appreciate it.
always.
And I'm sure chat does too. Okay, so we've got round 3 coming up here. We got Burn versus Indomitable Creativity. We got Archons of Cruelty, which gain life. Not so good for Burn, so we'll see how this plays out when the players are ready to go. In the meantime, if they're not quite ready yet, what's going on in your world that you want to tell us about?
In my world, not really a whole lot. Just getting
All right. Well, you're taking
some.
your time out from your busy schedule of commentating other games to
Yep.
commentating our original game, so appreciate that. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, normally during the week I pretty much only cast Valorant every once in a while, League of Legends every once in a while, TFT, and every so once in a while for Nerd Rage Gaming, I break out the Magic the Gathering commentary.
All right.
Just for you guys, just for you, chat. This is a little treat for you.
Those are I'm not if someone even acknowledges or notices, artsy type things, but I think these sleeves with this like shadow like frosting on the back design is pretty neat.
I do agree. I have not seen those.
Okay, so I'm told from our director that those are Gen Con exclusive dragon shields. So
how cool.
Yeah. All right, so here we
Just
are.
like this Goblin guide.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, you're already proving your worth because I'm not even sure I would have recognized what that was. And since I was going to think if it has haste or not, okay, clue in. All right, now it's coming across. So yeah, Goblin Guide it is.
It's okay. This will be the real zinger. This is how we really figure it out. Do we flip over the top card? It is a Goblin Guide, and we take the Arid Mesa. Look, we figured it out. To be honest, I wouldn't have guessed from the art. I just know that these two decks are going to be Burn and that 4-color Indomitable Creativity, and I couldn't imagine a mountain into 1-drop coming out of the Indomitable Creativity deck, at least not one that stays on the field. So
right. All right, so Indomitable Creativity trying to set up multiple Archons of Cruelty. Burn trying to get things over with before that even happens. We got Jose Munoz here versus Nicholas Montes de Oca, which doesn't fit on the screen. So Nicholas is what our producer decided to go with. So thanks for being with us here at the beginning of round 3, getting things underway. And yeah, I don't know. Burn versus Creativity. I mean, Creativity is going to be putting some stuff in the way to block with. They have Fable. There's oftentimes something like 3 Crabs getting in the way to block. Okay, Fire Ice, that works too.
Does a good job of getting rid of that Goblin Guide, indeed. Unfortunately, though, we don't really have a follow-up, it seems, for Nicholas, and that could be a little bit of an unfortunate situation that second turn was spent not really committing any more damage to the life total of Jose. But, I mean, having this Lava Spike to go along with it is going to do a little bit, but you definitely hope to just always have at least one creature committed to the board if you're hoping to even take this game down.
Right, yeah, you got in before I even was able to say it there, but like, what do we always say for these burn decks? You got to have creatures to stay on the board, and it so often doesn't happen. Here is a Fable the Mirror Breaker here for Jose, so he'll conjure up a creature here. A 2/2, which is actually just going to be big enough to tussle with anything that Nicholas is probably able to muster. And now it's just going to come to, I don't think there's realistic scenarios where Jose actually casts Cruelty for Creativity for even for 1 and loses the game.
Very true. Lightning Bolt on end step, so Nicholas still being able to get some damage across, but once again, if you had a creature that was just doing that like extra 4 points of damage, Jose would look so much worse, and I have to be a little bit concerned as well. Okay, never mind. We found an Arid Mesa. We're going to be able to get some white mana and also probably be able to punch for a little bit harder alongside that. So that's got to be a nice thing to have come off the top of the deck as well. But we were kind of talking about it before we came onto desk. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of time between the end of that round and going into this round, but we were like, oh, this is potentially going to be fast. And I'd actually just said that looking at 4-color Indomitable Creativity. I didn't actually even look that the matchup was against a Burn, and that definitely solidifies this to be a quick match.
Okay, here is a Searing Blaze to wipe out this token, and this actually is pretty significant. It's going to make it much harder for Jose to generate the mana and the sacrificial pieces to get this creativity to work. Suspend Rift Bolt here, and one more spell is probably be enough, as I believe Jose's at 5. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and quite a few cards in hand. One of them definitely looks to be another lightning bolt. So as you mentioned, that should be enough, unless Jose has a way to gain some life here.
Well, he's going to gain... He can gain some with the creativity, but like with 3 land, a fetch into, or not even necessarily a fetch, but a Dwarven Mine making a token would allow for creativity for 1. And that's probably what it's going to take here. Okay. And this doesn't necessarily guarantee it either. It just makes it possible. So I may eat my words here when I said that a single Archon trigger would probably be enough. It may not be the case.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you just haven't had the extra creatures to punch across damage and even continue to be pesky on this board, that single Archon trigger might, very well be enough, because it's basically equating to an entire card for Nicholas.
Okay, well, there it is. Archons are the only creatures in the deck, so this is a guaranteed hit. But Jose, I believe, is at 4 after the fetch. And so this will go up to 7. It's possible. So Archon of Cruelty does a whole lot. Creatures aren't involved here, or planeswalkers, but it's still going to gain Jose 3 life and draw him a card, and Nicholas will lose 3 life, which doesn't matter, and lose a card.
And Searing Blade is going to be the discard. Makes sense. A little more difficult to get the damage across.
Okay. So my belief is Jose's at 7.
Yeah, I agree. And so we are 1 damage from being able to do it, and holding in Nicholas's draw step.
No, we're still in the upkeep. He hasn't drawn yet. He's deciding where he wants to shoot the Rift Bolt. I think you have to go. Yeah, you can't go to the Archon and then hope you can kill it, because you're just losing the game, even if you are able to.
I like the decision to just try and finish things off. But unfortunately, this draw maybe is not exactly what you would hope for it to be. And it is that Eidolon of the Great Revel. Would have been nice a few turns ago, but now feels quite a bit worse.
No, and it's not even actually going to survive. It'll just die to the attack trigger, which is going to... What was there? Some play here? What is this?
It's a lightning bolt.
Yeah. So in the end, Nicholas comes up just, I think, up 1 point short. Playing Eidolon, playing Eidolon doesn't seem to be significant in any way. I mean, as soon as this Archon got to attack, this game is, well, I guess is Jose is only at 4, right? After gaining, so actually, a charm still wins the game. Yeah, so Eidolon actually didn't really do anything. I don't know if it hurt either, but this is still not over. I assumed twice that 1 trigger would be enough to do it. Then I assumed that 2 triggers would be enough to do it.
And it still might not be.
How about more?
Yeah, okay. That 3. Third time's the charm. We're able
All right.
to do it.
All right. So Jose Munoz does pick up the game. Indomitable Creativity is, it's pretty cool the way it works. I mean, just flooding out these Archons of Cruelty, they're just so strong. Maybe we can bring up Archon of Cruelty onto the screen. And it's just, I don't know. It's not really elegant, but it is kind of like a 1-card, it's like Scapeshift, really, right?
You don't think that Archon is elegant? I want to poll in chat right now. Is Archon elegant? Yes or no? I think Archon is beautiful. It is grace, and it is cruelty. And I love it.
If any combo that's using like hard evidence and Dwarven Mine to assemble its pieces is
Okay.
not elegant.
So you're saying Indomitable Creativity is
Yes,
not
sure.
elegant. Okay, I would agree with that.
Archon of Cruelty is a very cool card. I mean, yeah, it's just so slick. It's not even a legend, which is why it works in Legacy, but even in Modern here, this is brutal. But
yeah, I mean, I was a really big fan of playing the Reanimator strategies for a similar reason of just like this card is really cool, and you also get to play some other cool cards alongside it, namely all of the new elementals that pack quite a bit of a punch. I mean, putting that into just like how often they are played in the modern format right now, I'm not alone in feeling that way. And I don't know, Archon's really cool. I think that this Indomitable Creativity deck is really cool, if inelegant. But you know, so there's been a lot of decks that are inelegant. I would go ahead and say that like KCI was a very inelegant deck that that got played and was extremely powerful for a very long time. So now that's, I guess, the next question to chat. What do you think is the most unelegant deck?
Is that even a word? I started. I don't know, but I opened my mouth and I kind of train wrecked the conversation here. But yeah, okay. So we have. I mean, how comparable is Indomitable Creativity this deck to Scapeshift? I mean, they're both kind of one card kills with supporting stuff that doesn't work all that well on their own. And I mean, you have to. I mean, it's not like there's tutors. I mean, I guess there's some card filtering. There's Fable, which is really nice at just digging you a little bit deeper. But yeah, it gets it done here in game one, and really it gets burned.
I mean, that's kind of how we expect the matchup to go. Just like that match, you're either as Burn going to completely run over the game before the Indomitable Creativity deck can do anything. But if the Indomitable Creativity deck even gets to go, you could probably still beat it, even if it does get that one Archon, as we like pretty much almost saw. It was very close, but it is taking that little bit of extra oomph. And I do think the place where that Burn deck did stumble was not having a creature to follow up on that second turn the moment that Goblin Guide fell.
Yeah. I mean, the hard evidence is really kind of one of the main damage absorption things for the creativity deck. They didn't have one, but Burn deck didn't force one out of them. And you're right. If that Idol had been on turn 2 or something, the turn 2 was just like Lava Spike. Was that just all it was?
It was Fire Ice.
No, I'm sorry. I meant for the Burn deck.
Oh, for the Burn deck. Yeah, I don't think that the Burn deck did anything on turn 2.
Yeah, and that's just not enough, really.
Yeah.
But all right, so players are getting ready for game number 2. Let's go ahead and go to the table and see if Burn on the play can get get a little bit more going here. I mean, it was close, but I guess every time Burn almost wins, then if you fast forward another turn or two, it looks like they're getting destroyed.
I mean, again, that's just kind of, you play Burn expecting that sort of thing to happen, because that's just some of the play patterns that you're going to be seeing quite a bit of the time. And looking at the sideboard for this Burn deck, for those interested, it's pretty stock, like Smash the Smithereens, Roiling Vortex, Deflecting Palm Path, Sanctifier, and Vec, and just a lot of copies of those cards. And kind of difficult to tell exactly what you would bring in a matchup like this. Like Smash the Smithereens is going to be able to destroy some of those tokens, but is it worth really doing? Because what if it does end up being that crab on the field? It's so difficult to hedge what you think you're going to be facing down.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Nicholas going first here. So a little gesture towards himself. I think Jose and everyone watching already knew. But okay, now we have the deck list available. So if we do go to game 3, we'll bring them up.
All right, is this hand going to be good enough? I was able to see a Bolt. That's about it. It definitely looked to be some lands, and I think it seems like Nicholas decided to keep. We were waiting for Jose, and Jose said, sure, I'm good as well. Arid Mesa to start things off.
Jose with the pesky Fire Ice in hand again, which is a pretty nice removal spell. I guess it's not as nice as some things, but still, I got it done last game. And Becky.
Yeah, I don't know if I would keep a hand with no creature. I just have a hard time. You win a game where you don't have a creature for Burn in this matchup.
If we have Eidolon in turn 2, okay,
sure.
I guess I'll accept that. I mean, that's it though, right? Like if there's
Mm-hmm.
no Eidolon, if there's no creature on turn 2,
Then we're gritting our teeth.
right?
Oh, was a Goblin Guide the draw for turn? Oh no! Ouch.
All right, Jose fetches in response to the Goblin Guide.
Now I'm wondering if Jose is playing like copies of Lightning Bolt. Doesn't. Nope, is playing 4 copies of Lightning Bolt, so we could use that to take care of the Goblin Guide.
All right. Trigger finds Transmogrify.
More fine? Whoa.
And Bolt does remove the Goblin Guide. All right. Yep, Skewer turned on because of the fetch land. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Nice ability to at least get some damage across on that turn. All right, let's see. I believe the Goblin Guide was drawn for that last turn, and so we ended up going for that play. So there's still a chance that there could have been an Eidolon in hand to start things off. But okay, Swiftspear. Are we just drawing all of our one-drop creatures after turn 1? This feels slightly unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is you're right. This is, I mean, Nicholas has had the right cards. They've just been not at the right
weird order.
Yeah, they just not at the right time. All right, so Swiftspear comes across for 1 fetch land here for Jose, and all right, well, Nicholas can win here with just burn spells. It's just much easier when your creatures soften up the opponent.
Just ways to force your opponent to make actions and stumble on their own things. Like if it was just like a call of 2 ships passing in the night, which it kind of still is, then it wouldn't be so bad. Then, Jose's deck wouldn't be playing 4 Lightning Bolt in it.
All right,
you wouldn't need to.
Tapped, and I mean, if there was a second bolt in Jose's hand, we know there's a Fire Ice. So let's see what's going to happen here. We're probably tapping. This is shooting for 2, then that's risky. In fact,
nope.
So risky that there's almost no way that's what's happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would be shocked if that was what was happening. Another Rift Bolt suspend. Still the Lightning Bolt in hand, and I believe a Path as the white card. Jose, alive, lives another day.
Okay, so Jose here, we're not going to, it's pretty suspicious about just with the mana open, ramming a Creativity or Transmogrify into a potential burn spell. Yeah, Jose is not going to do it. Not interested. He's going to explore first, just build up. Says, if you're not going to put enough pressure on me, I am not going to rush.
Looks like Arid Mesa was the draw, but has a lot of choices, and notably, I believe, as well as Spell Pierce in hand, and that could be something that we're holding on to at least. I mean, it could be something where you like Spell Pierce a Rift Bolt just to like force a lot of mana to be used up in a turn, and then have that by yourself a turn.
Yeah. Here's the hard evidence. So Jose will pick up a Crab and a Clue. And yeah, defense is pretty well set up. You're right about the Spell Pierce. Yeah, Spell Pierce and the Rift Bolt would actually be really interesting here, because we know Nicholas doesn't have a third land yet.
I also do think that like Spell Piercing or Rift Bolt is worse when there is a prowess creature in play. Like it feels like you're just like not actually negating much, but you got to do what you got to do to live through a turn. So
I guess the fact that there's an Arid Mesa, and so Jose would have to actually fetch and shock to be able to do that, makes it much worse, but still interesting possibility.
Nicholas has so many cards in hand. I have to believe that like there's a high probability that you can deal a lot of damage still. We just have to deal enough of it in one turn that we aren't getting getting disrupted by a Archon of Cruelty.
All right, so there is a bolt coming through. Trigger prowess again. I think Jose is now at 5. Crab goes down. So we know there's Transmogrify, and we know there's a fetch land. There's also at least one Archon in hand. That's not going to do too much. I mean, how are these decks not playing Urborg? Let's just cast these Archons. What does it cost? 8? That's a bargain.
It costs 9, I think. Oh, no, I think it is 8. It's 6 black.
9's a lot.
It's a bargain? Yeah, 9's a lot. 8's easy, though.
I mean, you're playing Explorer. You have Fable, the Mirror Breaker. You can acquire some treasures and make a bunch of land drops. All right, here comes Dwarven Mine. Token. And this is going to be... Spell Pierce is going to show its worth here. Exile target creature. Find an Archon. Jose's at 4. Okay. Yeah, I think the play here. All right, so here's Path on the token. Spell Pierce. Okay, we saw that coming. Nicholas did not. Or even if Nicholas did see it coming, he doesn't really have a choice. He got to go for it anyway.
Yeah, very true. All right, Archon numero uno. We have another Archon in hand, but a lot of them in the deck, considering that you are trying to get them onto the field in some abundance. Get some life back. Ooh, and a lightning bolt as the draw, so that's going to be a good way to stop if another creature comes into play as well. So that actually went, all things considered, pretty well.
All right, so land, bolt, Boros Charm, that would do it. Nicholas clearly doesn't have that, as we have already seen it. In fact, there's only 2 cards there. It's not even enough to do that. And yeah, so 1 Archon is just too much to overcome there for Nicholas.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer because we saw in the first game how it took basically 3 Archon triggers for Nicholas to be able to be defeated. Unfortunately, just 1 there is enough. And I do wonder if that's a situation where, like, I understand the path, but if you have so many things that kill creatures, is path really, like, is the path more so to answer a Archon that comes into play so that you don't get attacked by it, and we just didn't have any other answers and then didn't draw into them? Kind of just an unfortunate set of draws for the Boros burn deck, along with kind of the way that those creatures ended up coming into this. We did have a backup match, but apparently our backup match finished just as fast as our main match.
What?
They're already reported on Melee.
No! The backup match is recorded. Becky,
oh, it is recorded. Oh, we're good. Okay, we're fine. I mean, I didn't spoil it. We just know it's finished already.
Well, I got worried. All right. So let's go ahead. And so, yeah, last round we did watch the backup match live, as it took forever. But this is game 1 of the backup match. And we have merfolk once again. So can we clean up the board indicator there? All right. So we got Jonathan White against Forrest Winstead here. Mono White Hammer versus merfolk. And despite what Becky might tell you, trust me, this match is very much still happening.
Is it? Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Look, look, your eyes deceiving you? Look at the board. Esper Sentinel and Memnite versus some merfolk.
It tied something. I haven't seen merfolk in a long time, so excuse me for not knowing. It is a tide shaper. I was actually going to be right, and I just second guessed myself out of that.
All right. So we've got Pure Steel Paladin here for Jonathan White, just playing the go wide plan with Mono White Hammer that doesn't actually exist. Silvergill Adept there for Forrest Winstead, which I was able to identify only because of the draw, not because I know the artwork of whatever set that's from.
The Silvergill Adept? It's a like F&M promo from Ixalan.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now that you say that, I guess I realized that Ixalan was this set that had merfolk as a tribe somewhat recently, but I wouldn't have remembered that. I don't think if I had to come up with it on my own. And wow, double cantrip off
Holy
Colossus Hammer there.
smokes. Yeah, and
Yeah.
a wide board. Normally you would expect the merfolk deck to go wide, but it
Mhm.
doesn't get to cheat on mana quite the same way that Hammer does. So very crazy board happening, and a big attack coming through with this Esper Sentinel with a Colossus Hammer, and Tide Shaper is going to eat the dust.
Yeah, and boy, yeah, like you're saying, merfolk's trying to go. This is a lot. This is like a turn 10 board stall for Hammer, not turn 3 and having 5 creatures in play already,
Exactly.
or turn 6, 4, whatever this is. I don't know. Okay, so merfolk, Forest Winstead, what do you got for us? Can you really even compete against this? I'm not sure. The answer is yes. Is it? What are we even hoping for here? A bunch of lords? It's 11-11. Esper Sentinel. No amount of lords is going to allow you to trade with that effectively.
Yeah, that's I mean, 10 lords would allow you to trade with it effectively. But we're some distance away from being able to cast that many.
Just a little bit. All right, an Ether Vial. Well, okay. Forest Winstead. I think you're not going to win game 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. This quick
these white,
start.
Yeah. These white decks are drawing extra cards off of Pure Steel Paladins, setting things up, getting fancy. They're bigger. They have more of them, and they're drawing more cards. Merfolk, what are you even doing here?
Yeah, honestly, this, I guess, aside from like the equipping, but like doing things at instant speed and using like land interaction, like definitely makes it feel like this is something that the merfolk deck would like to be doing, and it's just not even being able to keep up. But also, to be fair, this does seem like a pretty insane keep of 7 that just happened from this mono white hammer deck, and being able to go search for another Colossus Hammer just is adding in a little bit of extra pain here.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish we were going to see a Thieving Skydiver.
Even
that card
then,
is sweet.
Thieving
Even
Skydiver
then, yeah.
it steals the artifact, right?
Yeah.
It's still equipped. You don't have 8 mana to unequip it and put it on a different guy, so it's not going to even change anything. Gaining control of one of these hammers is relatively worthless at this point. I guess you could steal Esper Sentinel.
There you go.
Here comes a pretty sizable attack. Forrest is like, well, I'm at 18. All right. Here we go. We got
Looks cool. You know, at this point, if you're in a situation like this, looking cool definitely has some equity to it. I agree.
I mean, yeah, especially when you're not winning. If you're definitely going to lose the game, you may as well look stylish while you're doing it.
Oh, all right. Well, there's the new card that supposedly is putting merfolk on the map again. Unfortunately, I don't think it is going to put this particular game of merfolk on the map, but that is the Bodalian Hexcatcher. Is a really cool card with a really cool art. So, you know, exciting to see it. Unfortunately, hard pressed to be winning against a lot of hammers that are coming across for a lot of damage.
Yeah. Boy, howdy. This is another. This is a Thoughtcast. It's a 1 mana Thoughtcast that gives a creature +10/+10.
Yep. And yeah, Jonathan just says, "Okay, go to damage. What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. You've taken a lot. Your creatures die. How are you going to keep up? This Ether Vial doesn't even have any counters on it. It will now, but even still." You know, on top of looking cool, Forest also has some very cool sleeves to go with specifically a merfolk deck. So, you know, some extra style points definitely going Forest's way.
I think those sleeves go with it. Is that even a... Yeah, I mean, you have to be brave to do that, right? To run sleeves that actually give away your deck.
I feel like that always happened with merfolk players when I was playing in a lot of paper tournaments. Like, the moment that a merfolk player like unrolled a playmat with some like fish on it, I was like, oh, you're playing merfolk. It's like the burn player who sits down with like red sleeves
Yeah,
that
see,
look kind
that's
of old.
yeah. I've seen that a few times. I don't remember his name, but there was a
It's me.
guy.
I'm the burn player with old red sleeves.
Well, you're the burn player whose hairstyle reflects the deck
There you
also.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I give it away all over the place.
All right. So do we have deck lists this round? If we do, let's go ahead and put them up.
If not, we can kind of talk about them as well. So this mono blue merfolk deck is okay, wait, never mind. We're gonna start off with hammer because we do actually have them. Cool. As far as
Okay.
this hammer deck is concerned, this looks pretty stuck. I mean, we are just playing that one of Steel Shaper's gift that we actually did
Pretty
get to see.
stuck. Becky
What?
Bell. There's no Ginger Brute.
That does hurt me actually, because I think that Ginger Brute is an insanely cool card. And but it is still like doing the nettle cyst thing, which is like
Yeah.
I don't want to say new at this point, but is one of the like newer things to be added to the
Yeah,
deck.
it's
So
definitely
okay.
yeah.
I hadn't
I mean,
noticed that there was no Ginger Brute. And now all of a sudden I'm very sad and hurt that Jonathan would make that decision.
yeah, boy. All right. Anyway, and so we'll go ahead and look at Forest's build of
This is
Merfolk.
the deck everyone came to see anyway.
Yeah. Second time we've had it today. Using Vodalian Hexcatcher, the brand new card, and I guess Svalin's not even really new anymore at this point, is
No.
it?
Nah, Svalin's been out for more than a year now.
Yeah. But
I
how about
mean,
Rashadan Dockhand was not in the other version.
Not in the other version that we saw on camera today, but does see play every once in a while. Printed at the same time as I can't say that card's name.
Svalin? I
Svalin?
don't even know if that's right, but I think Svalin
works for me.
Svalin of Sea and Sky, but yeah, Rashadan Dockhand, the porting type creature that actually taps down land, pretty cool.
And has island walk, so you know if you start to attack, you start to attack.
I mean, it should have island walk, right? If he works on the shorefront, I guess that makes sense.
Agree. I mean, and instead of having to play that mopey thing that turns cards into islands, merfolk players are about to get upset with me for calling that mopey. You just play Tide Shaper now instead, and it does that work for you on top of also being a merfolk. So I don't know. I like the direction that this deck has started to turn in, and especially having that Vodalian Hexcatcher as a part of it now. Sideboard, you've got things like Mistcaller, which is a pretty cool M19 card that we saw for like a little bit in some decks that weren't even merfolk, but also still get to see every once in a while in merfolk. And then just playing some other good cards for a lot of matchups, namely like the Brazen Borrower, Counterspell, Relic of Progenitus.
All right, let's see how this plays out. See if Forest can recover here, or at least like put as many creatures on the board as the hammer deck. Which I guess the hammer deck has an advantage in the early games developing because a lot of his creatures are free, but you're gonna need to see some more overall power and toughness here from the Merfolk deck, and preferably the transformation of one of Jonathan White's lands into a blue producing island, so there can be some land walking going on. Ooh, turn 1 Saga. All right, we got a counter on both sides, one on Ether Vial, one on Urza Saga.
Unfortunately, no land. Yeah, I was a little worried when we started off with a Mutavault and not a blue source. Ultimately, like it doesn't really matter when you're getting to Ether Vial, but not having a second land to be able to really turbo out creatures, especially after how that first game went, where we saw the Merfolk deck be on the back foot against just a whole slew of creatures from the Mono White Hammer deck. It has me with concerns.
So I was talking about Forest changing one of Jonathan's lands into an island. I didn't realize Forest wasn't going to even have an island to start with. I kind of took that for granted.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Not the start that you want to have for a deck like this, and ticks up to 2, but still no more land. And this construct is going to start to hit.
Yeah, it is. And normally Jonathan might have other things to do, but when your opponent is stumbling like this, just making constructs is great. There's nothing going on. What do we got? We got a 5/5 here already. Once the Urza Saga fetches up an artifact here, and
what are you gonna do? Cyclonic Rift me?
Well, that would be something.
And next merfolk tech.
I actually consider Cyclonic Rift in the Lotus Field sideboard for Pioneer, but it's a lot of mana.
It is a lot of mana.
Was it 7 to kick that thing? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah. All right. 5 across here for Jonathan, and Forrest will lose a quarter of his life total.
And it's going to lose a lot on the next turn, as well as that second construct will come off of being summoning sick and activating Ether Vial. What's going to be the call?
Well, if you're Forrest, I mean, you're okay. Okay, you're shutting off the.
Sure.
Yeah, you're turning off the creature's abilities for the turn, which does kill the construct. That's nice.
Cool.
I think may have cost ourselves a point of damage by not doing that. In fact,
I think we didn't save ourselves any damage because we hit the one that didn't attack because it was summoning sick.
Yeah. No, I meant because we didn't shrink the one down. But you're right. If we just killed the one that was attacking, we wouldn't have taken anyway. So I was suggesting that Forrest should have taken one less. But you're right. Forrest maybe shouldn't have taken anything.
Yeah, potentially was thinking that maybe something a little more potent was going to come onto the field and trying to be prepared for that. But with nothing to come into play, at least taking care of that second construct does save you a little bit of damage on the next turn.
Yeah. But now there's so much Sigarda's Aid, and so okay. Well, now this Ornithopter can swing in here potentially for a nice 10 chunk out of Forest. Boy, this has been a rough match so far.
I mean, the last one was rough too. It just feels like this time, at least, like this seems like it was just a rough keep for the merfolk deck.
This is more one-sided than the last match. The burn deck at least had chances.
That's very true.
Does not feel like the merfolk deck with this keep and this development.
Yeah, last game at least, like I looked at the hand and it seemed like, okay, yeah, I can understand, like this seems like a good hand for merfolk against most other matchups. Unfortunately, this hand, Force a Negation, gonna pitch that counter spell. So okay, that counter spell is not completely dead in our hand. But it was a little rough to have that counter spell in hand when the only land in our play is Mutavault.
Yeah. Okay, so Inkmoth Nexus activates to pump the construct. I think there's a Brazen Borrower in Forest's hand. There's the counter spell, like you said. They got pitched. There's well, I don't even know why we're trying to sugarcoat this. Yeah, if you're playing a mono blue deck and you don't have blue, that's problematic.
Oh, and uses the Silvergill Adept and is trying, I imagine, to find a blue source, but instead it looks like just another Mutavault.
I mean, it's a land.
Oh, it's a land, sure.
This is
what are you casting for 2 colorless mana in the merfolk deck?
Yeah, this is where you're forced, and you're like, deck, I need a land. The deck's like, here you go, and you're like, no,
that's not what I meant. Oof. It's okay. You know, you get him out of the way now, and then it doesn't happen anymore in the day, right? That's how it works. If only that's how it worked.
All right. I guess, yeah, sure, attack in. I mean, there's no blockers available, even if you don't have Island Walk.
Did we draw another Stoneforge Mystic?
There's definitely one in hand. You're right about that. So let's see. Maybe Jonathan's thinking about equipping or playing Stoneforge here. Because the Shadow Sphere does cost the same 2 mana to cast, to equip as the Stoneforge is coming to play. But nope, here it is. Yeah, why pay mana to equip +1/+1 when you can pay mana to equip +10/+10? Much better.
You know, the numbers don't lie, Joe. I got to be in agreement here.
Okay, so numbers don't lie. So by that, you would take that Jonathan's ahead in this game because it's 17-10.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I think that is also accurate here. Normally, in a lot of matchups of Magic, that isn't always the case. Here, it definitely seems to be the case.
Yeah.
And after No Block says, you know what, I just got this Colossus Hammer. You know it's going to come onto the field, and that'll do the last 10 points of damage. Unfortunately, not around where we get to see fish go off.
No. All right. So, yeah, merfolk gets squashed. Basically, no other way to put it there. Colossus Hammer just pounded down, and they're done. Okay. So that match is over with. Let's go ahead and take a look. We got a few minutes here as this round didn't last quite as long. See what we're talking about today. When we talk about the leaderboard, the season 2 invites are going to lock up. The two players with the most points at the end of season 2, which ends tomorrow, are going to qualify for the end of their championship. You can see here who's in contention for that. Jesse Robkin on top of the board right now. Zach Dubin with a slight lead over Josh Warsaw, who's not in attendance, but most of the players on the board are here. And 30 points to the winner of this event. Plus, there's the 5K tomorrow. So certainly enough room for a player, even down slightly lower down the board, to make have a good weekend. We saw Jesse Robkin, I believe, had a 50-point weekend at the Showdown earlier this year. So, I mean, even 20, 25 points is enough to put a lot of these players in contention, or put them up on the board. Anyone who doesn't make it in, still available for more invites to be season 3 and also the overall year-long leaderboard, which you can see here how things are shaping up right now for at the end of the year. The top 4 players who haven't already gotten in will join the players who are already. So let's go ahead and look now. We have the qualified players. You can see who actually has already locked up a spot. And there they are, the 2022 Nerd Rage Championship competitors. 7 of them locked up, 9 more to be awarded. And if you are thinking yourself, well, hey, I might want to do this. Is there still time? There is. We've still got all of season 3 ahead of us. So the season 3 schedule, if you're interested in attending an event, or if you're just going to continue watching at home, we appreciate you being here. You can see the dates and the formats. We've got Newark, Ohio. 2 events in November, one in Fort Wayne, Indiana, one in Mundelein, Illinois. And then the December event, which is still now, anyone who was planning on attending the December event and may have heard that NebulaCon, which was where the event was going to be held, was canceled this week.
Oh no.
You're correct. NebulaCon was canceled. However, Nerd Rage has spoken to the venue, and we are still going to have the event in the same place. It is just no longer part of NebulaCon.
Oh.
But as far as Magic is concerned, everything will be the same. So it's December 10th and 11th. We'll still be in Louisville, Kentucky. All right, that wraps up the season 3 schedule. If you're enjoying the coverage, give us a follow, stick around. We've got round 4 coming up in a few minutes. Becky and I'll be back.